When I was in reception, I had to teach my classmates about equity. I explained in a way that they could understand. They thought I was cheating in PE because I didn't run as many laps to warm up. It was important for me to explain to them that having cerebral palsy means that I use a lot more energy, and that means I get tired quicker. I use this example of petrol and that my tank empties way quicker than theirs. This helped them to understand. Do you think that schools should teach students about equity, specifically in regard to gender, disability, race, and other marginalised groups?
First of all, thank you for that question. Bravo.
Yeah, well done.
If I may just digress for one moment, can I just say thank you for this extraordinary honour and performance. I wasn't expecting it. Certainly wasn't expecting political questions, but we've got that. I also want to add my acknowledgement of the traditional owners of this land, the Kaurna people, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. In relation to your question, I'm really impressed that you've talked about equity, as well as, I know, Callum, in your introduction, you talked about equity and equality. And you're right, because it's not exactly the same thing, is it? It's ensuring, because we're not all the same. We're different. It might be how we look, or indeed where we've come from, the languages we speak, indeed the health conditions that we may or may not have. So there's no such thing as an even playing field. So that's right, in order to achieve equity, so that everyone can aim to have the same opportunities, yeah, you need to make changes so that people start at the same level. Yeah. So sometimes that might mean that, yep, your tank is not as full as others. It might involve other things like assistance with languages or learning disabilities or a range of other things, including, as you pointed out, all of you, gender. Whether that's, how we identify or indeed how we were born. You got any more tough ones?
He's got a few more, yes.
Whoa, okay, right, so we're just getting started, aren't we? Right, how long have you got?
Do you think it is important for there to be young people in politics?
Absolutely. Now, we're going to do the shuffle. Obviously, I'm much older now. Thank you for singing the song that talked about when I'm 60 years old, because I was almost relating to that. But a long time ago, when I got into Parliament, back in 1995, I was 26 years old. You can do the math. And that was considered relatively young. And we know 26 is actually not that young, especially when you're 10. So I felt very strongly that we needed not only more young people, or all ages, I felt that we needed to have a parliament. If it was a true democracy, it had to reflect and represent the people in the community. So it's not only age, is it? I mean, it's people with different backgrounds, different perspectives, obviously different ages, and also at that time in politics, there weren't many women, not many girls or women involved. So around 14% of the parliament was female. Yeah, I'm glad you did that. It's a shock. It's shocking, isn't it? Whereas today, it's a lot more even, as it should be. So that not only just women and men, but different types of women and different types of men. So that's one of the most exciting things I've seen in the last 30 years. More Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander members of Parliament, people from different ethnicities and backgrounds, and yes, different ages, including, do you know who the youngest member of the federal Parliament is?
No.
Her name is Charlotte Walker, and she's a senator, so she's in the top house. There are two houses, House of Representatives, lower house. Upper house is the Senate. And guess how old she was when she got elected? So I was 26, and I was the youngest to enter Parliament up until Senator Walker. What do you think? How old do you think she was?
19.
Not quite. She turned 21 on the day of the election. So she's officially the youngest woman ever and youngest ever elected senator. So I'll just get out of your way and try not to Callum, sorry about the guitar.
You have been an advocate for gender equality, a champion for women and girls for a long time. What advice would you give for young advocates who are finding their voice in championing change?
Ooh, my advice is that you need to persevere, so don't give up. also that you're needed. There is nothing about our community, our culture, our country that thrives without everyone being involved. So, my advice, get involved, have your say, literally speak up for what you believe. So my mother is deaf, and so when I was very young, I had to speak very clearly, not loudly, but I had to speak up so that she could lip read me and understand. So she taught me, speak up for what you believe in. So you'll all have different things that you're passionate about. It might be the environment, it might be health, it might be the budget, it might be, preservation of animals, a whole range of things. Equity, equality. So speak up, take a stand. Doesn't mean you have to become a politician, although I can spot a couple of politicians, burgeoning politicians. But it's also challenging the things that you hear, you read, and you see. So being informed. So being a good citizen, or as I like to say, a global citizen, because it's not just about what happens at St Michael's or in Beverley or even Henley Beach, the other school. It's about what happens across the globe, because a lot of the work that I do is at the United Nations. And so I meet a lot of young, particularly girls, around your age in different countries. And even though Australia's still got a lot of challenges, in some of the places I go and travel and work, there are some seriously awful things that happen in terms of human rights violations. So it's not just about us. As my children will always say, oh, Mum, you're telling us it's not just us, but what we can do for our global brothers and sisters. So stay in there, get involved, challenge when you have to. I'm sure the teachers will love that I'm telling you to challenge them, but it's worth it because you want to be a part of this great country and its future. You're welcome.
What can we do to make sure everyone's voice is included when decisions are made in schools, workplaces, and community groups?
That's a good question, but I get the impression that you are probably already involved in your school. What was your title?
Primary campus leader.
Exactly. So you're already in a position where you're exercising some democracy, you're elevating people into leadership roles. But what's really important about leadership, of course, is it's not just telling people to follow you, it's actually respecting and reflecting their views, their rights, and their needs. So working together in leadership roles, but also just supporting each other. I think I'm a really big believer in what they call bystanders. So if you see someone who's not being treated well, then it's really important that you speak up. And the other piece of advice I give people, especially young people who might be interested in politics or some kind of advocacy, and that is support each other. You can't do it alone. It can be a very, very lonely path if you're trying to advocate for something without support. So support each other, and I think a term that you hear a lot these days is respect each other. I'm a great believer in that. Whether you disagree, because we're not all going to agree on the same things. So respect each other's views, have civil discourse. That means we don't get angry, we don't get abusive, we exchange ideas. And sometimes that means agreeing to disagree, which is okay.
Now, my art teacher, Miss Tillett, introduced me to political art last year, and it has opened up a whole new world for me. Do you think that art can make people stop and think about inclusion and equity?
Absolutely. You think of every pop song, every piece of art. What would be your favourite artist, do you think, in terms of political art? Is there anyone that's appealed to you particularly? No? Just the general sense of it? Right. So this is it. Art, music, songs, culture, that's, I actually think, the best thing in life. So when I see this piano, I loved seeing it, here, but also hearing it played, because I love music probably more than just about anything. I love ballet, music, and singing, and they give me great, great joy. But I also know that they can communicate messages, be they political or, some of the songs that you've played today. My daughter Cordelia has just turned 18, and she's gone overseas to study, and she plays that piano beautifully. And so You also played her favourite song. She's a huge Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks fan, so you have no idea. When I sent her the video, like me, she will be crying her eyes out. I'm missing her very much, but I'm so pleased to see that art and culture and music is bringing some joy. But I can't imagine that it will bring you as much joy as today has brought me, I must admit. So, yeah, it's been a beautiful event. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time and answering my questions.
Thank you. Should I sit down now?
Yes.
Okay.